Hello and good morning. This is the Breville Barista Express model BES870SLQ that I'm selling. This is the salted licorice model, which is like a shiny sort of black with a bit of a metal sparkle, like a silver sparkle to it. This one is only used for about 3 to 4 months. Very, very clean model. Comes with everything. Comes with the receipt and the original warranty. And of course, in very good condition, in and out. In this video, I'll be demonstrating the machine, showing you how to use it if you haven't used one already. Yeah, just making my morning coffee. It's 8:30 a.m. and I haven't made my coffee yet, so let's do that. I usually turn on the machine and do a blank shot. So you can turn on the machine, wait 5 or 10 minutes, and it'll get nice and hot. It'll be ready to make a coffee in 1 minute, but if you want it to be hot, what I mean by hot, I mean that the internals, all the pipes and the portafilter and the group head, if you want those to be hot, you can either wait 5 or 10 minutes, keep it on, or you can run a blank shot. So a blank shot means you get your cup and put it under the machine to warm the cup and the components. Now, of course, the handle is empty, and a blank shot is basically just a double shot of water into the cup. I'm just going to do a bit of cleaning. There we go. So I'll start it from now. Blank shot is basically just get your cup underneath. Just give it a bit of water. In the meantime, I will go grab my milk. Now this machine comes with the milk jug, 4 baskets, portafilter, tamper, bit of cleaning tools, and this thing called the collar. The collar will help you reduce your mess when you are grinding coffee, and I'll demonstrate how to use it in a second. So this is the blank shot, just a little bit of hot water. Now everything is nice and warm. My cup is warm, my handle, the portafilter handle is nice and warm, and this will make my coffee warmer. So if you make coffee with cold components, especially if you only drink like small coffees or even espresso, if you drink espresso and you put your espresso in a cold handle, in a cold cup, your espresso will probably be cold or lukewarm, not even hot. So we don't want that. So that's why we do the warming up procedure. It also acts like a bit of a cleaning cycle. So it flushes the group head, it flushes the basket and the handle, and it just all around cleans up, which is not something you would say no to. I'm going to dry my portafilter now, and the reason is you don't want your coffee to be touching water before you brew, so try your best to dry the portafilter. What I'm going to do is tell you how to make coffee or espresso. Espresso usually is a 2-to-1 ratio, so that means for every gram you grind into the handle, you want 2 grams of coffee into the portafilter, into the cup. So if I do a double shot standard is 18 grams on this machine. So if I do a double shot, 18 grams into the basket, the double basket that I'm using, and I make coffee, I want my shot to be 36. I would aim for like 35 to 40, anything in that range is usually good. And I want my shot to happen in 30 seconds, give or take. If it takes longer than 30 seconds, then that means my grind size is too small. If it takes less than 30 seconds, then that means my grind size is too large. In other words, if the speed is too slow, the grind size is too small. If the speed is too large or too quick, the grind size is too large. So you have to change that accordingly. I haven't made a coffee on this machine yet. I've just finished doing the cleaning and checked it out. Everything is perfect, of course. But I am using grind size number 6. This machine goes from 1 to 18. 1 being small and fine, 18 being large and coarse. And you control the amount from this dial. So you can do a single shot or a double shot. We're doing a double shot. And the way you use this cradle or collar, so you put it on the portafilter, you lock it in, and it's going to give you more height so you don't spill around when you grind the coffee. I'm going to also use my scale to measure the inputs and outputs. You don't have to, but it helps with setup and getting the settings right. Otherwise, if you don't have a scale, I'll quickly teach you how you can figure out the correct dose and the correct amount. Okay, so my scale is on 0 now. Grind says number 6. Grind amount on 3 o'clock and using the double shot. That is my double shot. As you can see, it's like a little bit of a mountain, and it's definitely over the basket. So without this collar tool, I would have made a large mess. And the weight is 20 grams, so that's a lot of coffee. What I would do is I'd probably clock it back to 12 o'clock position and try again. In fact, I might do that in a second. I'm not going to get rid of this coffee, I'm just going to use it for something else for now. Just going to clean the portafilter. Cool. Let's try that again. I want the settings to be perfect for you so you don't mess around too much when you get the machine and start using it. The settings will vary slightly depending on the bean. So if my beans are on this setting, for example, your beans may be on this setting or better on this setting. It's hard to tell. The only way to know what settings you need in terms of the grind amount and the grind size is to make coffee, and you can't just guess. So I can't give you a magic number. I cannot tell you number 6 is going to be perfect for all your coffees. That's simply not true. But anyway, let's not get too deep. Let's make another one at the 12 o'clock mark. Hopefully it's closer to 17 and a half, 18 grams. That's my hope. That looks a bit better. Let's see. Oh, that's about 16 grams. So maybe the perfect amount will be at the 1 o'clock mark. But anyway, I'll put it on the 1 o'clock mark. I'm not going to get rid of this. And I will do another second or so. That's 18 and a bit. Perfect. So try the 1 o'clock mark. It may be close to 18 grams, hopefully. If it's a little bit under, that's fine. You don't want to be too much over, so a couple of milligrams is fine, but if it's a gram over, you don't want that, because it will just mess up the shot, and it'll be like hard to lock in the portafilter if you have too much coffee. But if you have too little coffee, you can still make a shot, but it'll be a bit more watery. And that's better than breaking your machine and not being able to make coffee. Okay, we've got the correct amount in here, 18 grams. With this tool, it's super easy. You just press. Make sure it's nice and straight, nice and polished. I'm going to take it out to have a look. You can tap this onto the your sink or onto the bin just to knock off any loose coffee that's accumulated. I'm going to put this here. Few specks of loose coffee here and there, but anyway, after you clean the loose coffee, this is what the tamper looks like. So let's say you don't have a scale. You can still make coffee and you can still check your dose by looking at the tamper. The tamper is cleverly designed. The silver part on the tamper is like a bit of an indicator. So when you press your coffee in, if you have the correct amount of coffee, the silver part should disappear, just like that. More or less, it should disappear. In other words, this is the depth of your coffee when you have the correct amount of coffee. This is what it looks like. The same depth as the silver part. If you have too much coffee, so if you have like 19 or 20 grams, what you'll see is that the tamper will sit on top, and you can still see some of the silver part like that, or even it'll be full to the brim, and you'll see the silver part for sure. If your dose is too low, it'll just sink too deep, and you won't be able to see this black part. But if it's just around the silver part, that's about the correct dose. So that's how I tell my customers who don't have a scale or don't wish to use the scale every day, and that's fine. And then after you tamp, you just give it a good clean all around with your finger, and then lock it in. Keep this clean so that the inside of the machine stays clean. Lock it into around the middle position, or honestly as tight as you need to. You don't have to over tighten it. Usually if you put it in the middle position, it will stay. I'm just going to get rid of this water, and before you make the coffee, if you like sweetener, sugar, or whatever syrup you prefer, put it now so that it mixes nicely with the espresso. You can put a little bit of hazelnut, because that's my favorite flavor. Some people don't wish to add milk and flavors to their coffee, and that's fine. I personally like the flavors of hazelnut and vanilla, so that's what I make. I'm going to reset my scale to 0, and now the next measurement begins. We measured 18 grams in. Now we want to measure the output, and it should be 36 grams. I'm going to make it, I forgot to say, these buttons are programmable. So there's a single shot and a double shot. You can program them to whatever length you prefer. I'm going to program the double shot to give me about 35 to 40 grams of coffee. And these buttons are volumetric, not timed. A lot of people forget that. So these will go by amount of water pumped into the coffee, or into the from the pump into the coffee, and not by the time. So if your settings are different, the timing may be different, but it will always try to aim for the amount of water that you set it to. I'm gonna start now, so put the scale on 0. I'm also gonna time it. So there's these 3 variables that we are trying to achieve. 18 grams in, 36 grams out, 30 seconds. It can be overwhelming, but honestly, once you set the grind amount correctly, and you set the brew button correctly, it's just a matter of getting the grind size correctly. So if you keep your dose at 18 grams in, 36 grams out, the only thing that you change is the time, and so I should say it's 4 variables. Input, output, grind size, and time. If you keep the input the same, the output the same, what you will change is the grind size, and the grind size will affect the timing. In other words, fix your grinding, fix your brewing, and the only thing you want to achieve is the 30 seconds. And you change the speed of the 30 seconds by changing the grind size. So if you get your coffee, like I said before, if it's too quick, that means your grind size is too large. If it's too slow, your grind size is too small. Anyway, that's a lot of talking, but we'll do that now. So to program a button, you press program, then you press the button that you want to program. The machine will start making coffee, and then you stop it once you're happy with the volume, and it will save that volume. I know roughly by eyeballing what 35 grams looks like, and I'll show you. Hopefully it should be close enough. So just press program, and then I'm also timing it on my scale. So hopefully it should be around 25 to 30 seconds. That's looking good. We've got good pressure. The pressure gauge is not much of a variable. It's just something to indicate that you have roughly the correct settings. So that's 25 seconds. Hopefully it should be 30 to 40 grams. Just let it drip. That's 45. So it's a bit more than we wanted, but it's probably still drinkable, I would say. What this tells me is maybe it would be better to drop the grind size by just 1 number using these beans. And I'm talking about these beans only. So you can drop the size a little bit more. And with my beans, you will probably achieve the perfect 40 grams, 35 to 40 grams that I aimed for in 25-30 seconds. You you can do that, but I won't do that because you're probably going to be using different beans. I'm using the Aldi brand dark roast. It's called Lazio. It's like this white packet, but it's really good beans. I usually would recommend going to a fresh bean, like freshly roasted from a roaster nearby. But if you really want to go to a supermarket brand, Aldi is the only one I can recommend because I've tried most others. Aldi is the one that stays fresh and is actually pretty fresh when you buy it. So this button will give you about 45 grams of coffee. I wouldn't change it because I think it could still taste good. If you want, like I said, you saw how I changed the programming. If you want to be super particular, you can press program and press the button and it will give you 30, 35, 40 grams. Now it's going to give you about 40 to 45 depending on your settings. If I drop the number, it will probably give me around 40. But yeah, that's how to make espresso. And this is what 45 grams looks like if you want to sort of eyeball it. Like I said, you don't have to use a scale every day. You can just look at the amount and gauge that that's around 40 grams, that's around 20 grams, etc. Right, that's my espresso shot. You can have this straight away. It'll be called espresso. You can add hot water and it'll be called Americano. There's a hot water tap here. It's very conveniently placed. You can just put your cup, turn it on and leave it there. And it'll actually, if you leave it on, it'll give you about 200 milliliters, which is fixed on this machine. You can turn it off at any time, of course, but if you let it go forever, it'll stop at 200 milligrams. Sorry, 200 milliliters, which is the Americano's recipe apparently. If you turn this the other way, this dial here, it'll give you steam. And actually, before we steam, let's quickly clean the machine. So take out your portafilter, knock it into a bin or a knock box, and then I like to give it I like to go the extra mile when I'm cleaning my machine. A lot of people just leave it like this. I like to flush, and what I mean is just similar to before, we turned it on without any coffee, just turn it on again. That's going to clean and flush the grip head. And in the meantime, I'm also like sort of rotating this so I can get all angles so that my portafilter is nice and clean as well. And it is. You can leave this in there, come back the next morning, but I probably prefer putting it down so you can dry up and let the grip head dry as well. That's that. Let's convert this into a latte. So add some milk. This is my jug. It has the thermometer, but your jug is the same. It's the same Breville one, the same size. And I'm going to fill the milk up to this level, so up to this spout. I'm using cold full cream milk. Starting with cold milk is better than room temperature milk because it will give you more time to froth. It'll give you more time to give it that texture, that foam that people like. Great. Now, with milk, it won't be easy at first, but you have to learn the technique. Again, I'll quickly go through it. Fill your jug about halfway or up to this spout line. With the dial here, turn it towards you. It takes about 10 to 15 seconds to start steaming. It'll spray a little bit of water first. That's the water condensation from last time, or from the previous session. It takes about, like I said, 10-15 seconds for the boiler to heat up to the boiling temperature. And then once you hear the pump click, when you hear it pulsating or clicking, that means it's up to temperature basically. But it's going to get stronger and stronger, as you can see. There you go. That's pretty strong now. I'll turn it off. You've got 5 seconds to turn it back on, otherwise the machine will reset and go back to espresso mode. Turn it back on. I'm putting it at an angle so that it spins the milk. But also, the depth of the wand into the milk will dictate how much foam you get. So if you dunk the wand very deep into the milk, you won't be getting much foam on top. But if you leave it close to the edge, it'll give you a lot of foam. So you just have to modulate that. If you want a lot of foam, keep it close to the top edge or the top of the milk. If you want a bit of foam, maybe halfway. And you can also go by sound. So if there's little sound, it's just steaming. It's not giving me any foam. It's not aerating the milk. If I go very high like this, it's giving me a lot of foam now. So anyway, you want to be, I would say, about 10 seconds in that top layer to give it air, to give it foam, to give it texture. But then after that, you just dunk the wand deep into the milk and just simply spin it without aerating it, without giving it more air. Because if you give it too much air, it'll be too thick, and I don't like that for a latte. For a latte, it should be nice and smooth. And when it's too hot to the touch, when you can't touch the jug for too long, for more than a second, stop, and that's usually about 65, 60 degrees. According to my thermometer, it's 65, so honestly, just stop it whenever you feel that that's too hot for you to drink. But yeah, for most people, it's when the jug is too hot to the touch, that's about 60, 65 degrees. As you saw, I stopped the wand, I stopped the steam, and 5 seconds later the machine cooled down. And once it's cooled down, it's back to espresso temperature. You'll see the buttons light up. When you're making steam, the buttons turn off. When you turn it off, they turn back on when it's back to temperature. Also recommended at the end of your steaming session is to give it a rinse. Give it a purge. So as you saw, just turn it on for a second or two, just to pulse steam and steam or water through it. I've already done that before, so this is the second time doing it. That's gonna clear out all the milk from the hole. You can also rinse it by using the hot water tap. Not a lot of people know this trick, but yeah, it's just above the wand, so just use this. It's gonna make a bit of a splash, a bit of a mess, but hot water will dissolve that milk. And if you grab a wet towel, a wet cloth, and wipe, it'll be easier to remove the milk. So better to clean the wand now than wait tomorrow and then come back to it and the milk is hardened, it's cold, and it's caked on the wand. So you don't want that. So you want to clean it ASAP. And how do you clean? Like I said, you first, when you're done, you purge, and that's gonna output some steam or some water to clear out the hole for the steam. And then you can rinse it with a hot water tap and give it a good wipe. That's going to soften and wipe the milk clean off, and it's nice and shiny now. Once that's done, you can make another coffee. So like I said, when the machine is displaying these 5 lights, or 6 lights I should say, it's up to temperature and it's ready to go. So you can make another coffee, or you can just turn it back off. Let's not let the milk sit for too long. My problem is I speak too long, and the coffee will get cold. Usually the milk will get cold. But that's fine. I'm not very fussy about temperature. Anyway. Good to give the shot a bit of a mix before you pour the milk. That's going to mix the crema and the flavors and make it nice and even. Give the milk jug a bit of a knock to break any big air bubbles that you see, and keep swirling it around. So it's very nice and smooth now, even though I was speaking for like a good minute. It's still nice and smooth. There we go. Sometimes with this machine, if you're skilled, if you get lucky, you can get some latte art. So I'm not a barista and I don't do any latte art sort of competitions, but every now and then I get like a tulip or a heart, and it just makes my day. I think this will be a very delicious coffee. I'm looking forward to having it. I'm sure you can make much better designs than me, but yeah, as you see, we did. I would call this a cappuccino maybe. There's a lot of foam in there because maybe we frothed it for too long. But yeah, I'm still learning, even though I've been making coffee for years. Every now and then I make a few mistakes. But yeah, hope you enjoy this machine. It's very, very clean. I'm sure you'll love it. And yeah, it's quite reliable and it makes really good coffee. Thanks for watching, and I will see you soon. Cheers.